Hello, Periscopers. This is Monica A. Coleman, and I'm a professor of theology and author of the forthcoming book, Bipolar Faith, A Black Woman's Journey with Depression and Faith. Thank you for joining us, Maya Mitch London. Hi, Ms. ARW. It's good to be able to hi from London, hi from LA. It's good to be able to kind of check back in with you all. I said I would kind of check in and just share with you all about some of the things that I get asked about the most. So more than anything else, people ask me, what are my spiritual practices and what do I do to manage living with a depressive condition on a regular basis? And so I thought I would kind of jump on Periscope and share that with you all. Sometimes it'll be great, sometimes it won't be so great. Today I am hungry, so I'm thinking about food. So I thought I would talk a little bit about food. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know I'm at Rev Dr. Monica on Instagram. On Instagram I always post pictures of food because it's kind of like a little outlet for my foodie self. And I'm vegan, and I really enjoy vegan cooking. And I have my family wrapped up in it. Thank you for joining us, Martinelle1. And right now I'm a little bit hungry because I just got home, and I changed my diet recently. I decided to just kind of take all starches out, which was not to lose weight, but because my stomach was just really upset. And I'd wake up and just like, oh, my stomach isn't feeling well. And hi, Ryan Ravage. And I just wasn't happy about that. Hello, Dina Lano. Thank you for joining us. Hello also for joining us, Abdullah Yesawa. I think I'm pronouncing it right, 08. Thank you for joining us. Akin01, Chelsea Harwood, thank you for joining us. And I've talked about earlier about sometimes you have to make adjustments. Sometimes you just kind of have to tweak things, right? You have to say something's not working for me. So that's where I was. I felt like something wasn't working for me. And my stomach was upset. I was like, it must be something I'm eating. So I decided I would just kind of take out the things that I thought might be upsetting me. And so I said, I can just take out gluten, but let me just take everything out of my diet so I can try to figure out what it was that's bothering me. And so right now I'm not eating any starch, and which sucks because starch is comfort food, right? What do you eat when you don't feel great? You eat starchy foods like mashed potatoes and bread. And I'm from the Midwest, and we like our thick food. And so food that just kind of makes you feel good. And so that's what I'm not eating right now. But I wanted to talk a little bit about, because I do think diet matters. You know, I have some friends like Therese Burchard. Thank you for joining us, DJ Gary. I've seen other people join us. Who write really wonderfully about the important correlation between what you eat and how you feel. And there are a lot of studies out there even that talk about the connection between the bacteria that's in our stomachs and our guts and intestines and our brain chemistry as well. And so there's a connection between what happens in our brains and what happens in our stomachs, and that there's even been interesting studies that talk about how some people's challenges with mental health challenges and with brain conditions have been actually greatly altered and improved by dealing with gastrointestinal issues. So I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a psychologist. I'm not a psychologist even. I'm a theologian. I have a PhD, and I talk mainly about religion, but I also try and stay abreast of the things that affect me. And I think it's always an important part of self-care just to kind of stay tuned into your body and to get out of the idea that mental health challenges are all in our minds, that they're things that we make up, or even just all in our brains, but that our brains are part of our bodies and that we're holistic beings, and that what we eat matters, how we move or don't move matters. There are even things like how anemia can cause depression, which I'm anemic, so I can share more about that later. But the reminder that we actually have physical conditions, and so a big part of self-care is just paying attention to our bodies, paying attention to what's going on, to what hurts, what doesn't hurt, what feels funky, So I felt like my stomach was just feeling funky, and I was just eating whatever I was eating. You know, I have a little kid who, all little kids seem to love pasta and bread, given the option, pasta and sandwiches, which I hadn't given her much of, but she was really getting into it. And even with gluten-free options, I just wasn't feeling very good. So I have to say, I'm feeling a lot better. And my stomach looks better because I'm not eating starch, which does kind of tend to create some bloating and adds extra calories. But I don't like salads, so I'm eating salads. Um, One of my favorite starch alternatives, great question. I'm eating quinoa. I happen to like quinoa a lot, and that's technically a seed, but you can use it like a grain, which is great. So I do sometimes do that. I'm also just eating soups, eating salads, eating curries without putting it on top of rice. I don't really eat sandwiches, so that's not so bad. But I made soup and didn't make cornbread to go with it, so I felt pretty good about myself that I didn't make cornbread. I do like to make desserts with my daughter, and so I just kind of Googled raw vegan desserts, and so they're not going to have any starches in them, and made a really good dessert last night. You can find it on Instagram with rhubarbs and strawberries, bananas, and avocados. No added sweetener, and it's really pretty to look at, and it tastes good. So that's how I get some of my sweet in. So that's kind of how I've been managing the no starch thing, and I have to say I'm feeling a lot better. So I might kind of stick around this for a while. But again, this is not about not eating starch. This is about paying attention to your body and making adjustments so we can continue to feel well. And remembering that, you know, what's happening with our stomachs and our digestive tracts matters for what's happening in our minds and our brains and how we feel. Which is hard because, I mean, there's a reason why junk food is called junk food, because everyone's got their own version of junk food and what they like to eat that you know is not the healthiest thing for you. So I'm trying to keep it in the healthy zone, and if I just get, you know, craving that sugar thing, to eat a piece of fruit. And that's actually kind of hitting the craving for me pretty well. So I just wanted to share this. That's what I'm doing today, last couple days, not eating starch. And I'm going to go find some no-starch snack to eat before I make dinner. And I'm just glad to join with you all and share a bit about my spiritual practices and everyday practices. So please follow me on Periscope, Rev Monica. I'll be here every weekday at 4:30. Thank you, Maya Mitch London from London. And thank you, Ms. ARW. And I'll be back. And if you're interested and you're enjoying this, just feel free to holler, retweet, use the hashtag Bipolar Faith. Again, this is Monica A. Coleman, and the author of the forthcoming book, Bipolar Faith, A Black Woman's Journey with Depression and Faith. And I will talk with you all later.